Pokemon Go is one of the biggest mobile games of all time. It has an insane download count and a rabid player base to this day. Really, reviewing it is ultimately kind of pointless, especially for me who was Johnny come lately to that party. I didn't start playing the game until the first major Halloween event, which was only a short time before they started introducing Gen 2 Pokemon into the game. So I wanted to do something that's a little bit different, for both new players and returning veterans who've been away for a while. I'm doing a top 10 tips for enjoying Pokemon Go. I do want to stress that this is indeed for new players. People who are already pros aren't likely to get anything out of this list, as I play the game very casually. Before we get started, leave a comment down below telling me what team you're on, and at the end of this video, I'll tell you guys what colors I fly. That said, let's get into it, guys. This is Top 10 Tips for Newcomers of Pokemon Go. Number 10. Quality of life settings. If you're enjoying Pokemon Go thus far, there are some options that'll make it way more enjoyable. Tap the Pokeball icon on the main map view, then to the top right-hand cogwheel marked Settings, because there's 3 things that you can do straight away that'll make the game that much better. Under Advanced Settings, there's an option called Native Refresh Rate. Toggle this on. By default, Pokemon Go throttles itself down to a basic frame rate, but if your device can play at a smoother, cleaner frame rate, this will allow it to do so. This means that throwing the Pokeball is smoother and less stiff, and the animations will be more organic. Just generally a good plan. Option 2 to toggle is under the General tab under Regular Settings. Battery Saver is, well, just that. It limits how much the game burns the battery down and allows you to play the game and then dim the screen if the phone is set upside down, as if you dropped it into a pocket or a bag. The game will still be running, but demanding much less power draw. A must-have on older devices in particular. Below that is Adventure Sync. If you toggle this on, your walking will be tracked by the game even when the app is not open, thus crediting your master distance walked and any eggs currently in incubation. You may need to adjust your phone's permissions to do this, but you already own a smartphone. Your privacy went out the window a long time ago. Just turn it on and reap the rewards in a greatly improved gameplay experience. Number 9. Mind your friends and buddies. In order to define our terms, it's important to know that Pokemon Go defines friends as your human friends and buddies as your currently picked out Pokemon partner who shows up in the smaller circle next to your profile icon on the bottom left of the main screen. Pokemon Go is a social experience in its own strange way. For your human friends, you can gather gifts from Pokestops and gems and then send them as postcards to other players once per day. This grants them free items and you gain mutual friendship rating, which is the fastest XP gain in the entire game. Becoming best friends with another player is a huge one-time surge to XP and should not be underestimated. Then, once you're best friends, continuing to send gifts back and forth will get you Lucky status. This means the next trade you conduct with that friend is a Lucky trade, meaning you have high chances for a Pokemon with really good stats, more on this later, and the Lucky Aura for your collection. Now, if only Niantic would let Lucky friends trade remotely. That said, buddies are the Pokemon you're currently traveling alongside. You can have one buddy set at any time and swap it up to 20 times a day for some reason. Anyway, the buddy system is not explained in-game at all, near as I can tell, but there's a lot of perks in doing so. You can play with the Pokemon and several actions help fortify the bond you have, like feeding them berries, or petting them, or taking their picture in the AR mode. Do this often and your buddy will rank up. This also has mechanical merit. For example, if a wild Pokemon deflects a ball back away, your buddy has a chance to volley it right back at the target again, saving you Pokeballs in the long run. And sometimes they'll just bring you items, potions, or berries fairly often, or even souvenirs, which are their own class of item that don't serve any actual purpose. They're just nice things that your Pokemon has collected for you. And, this next one's my favorite feature, having your Pokemon buddied up with you will net them species candies as they walk with you. The distance required is proportional to their rarity, with common ones only taking a mere 1 kilometer to net a candy, and legendary Pokemon often needing as much as 20 kilometers just to get one. And, fun bit of trivia, if you become good buddies with a Pikachu or an Eevee, they'll even appear on your trainer profile in unique poses with your avatar. Number 8. Every Pokemon is different. Even if you encounter a Pokemon of the same species, there can be differences between them. These differences can include their combat power, or CP, individual values, commonly called IVs, their size, if they're a shadow Pokemon, or if they're shiny. Combat power, or that little number that appears over them, is a relative showing of their overall power. There's a lot that goes into this, and I'm not here to get too into it, but think of CP as how much a Pokemon has grown and how much they can potentially grow. By expending species candies and Stardust, you can power up a Pokemon, but combat power only raises up so far. More important than that are the IVs, which you can check by calling up a Pokemon in your collection, tapping the bottom right icon, and tapping Appraise. Your team leader will give you a breakdown of 3 stats: attack, defense, and HP, and measure it in stars. The higher those are, the better the Pokemon is as a representative of its species. While CP can be changed, IVs, generally speaking, cannot, as they are locked as soon as you meet the Pokemon, with one exception I'll get to in a moment. A 4-star Pokemon is the strongest possible instance of its species and are understandably the most sought after. But trust me when I say that you don't need them to be good at the game or even competitive if PvP is your thing, and it is not my thing, to be fair. Moving away from mechanical crunch, Pokemon can come in different sizes. This isn't just a visual thing anymore, as Pokestops can now have contests, where it'll ask for the biggest or smallest Pokemon of a particular species, and these contests are free to enter, take nothing from you, and can net you big rewards if you win. Shadow Pokemon can be collected by beating Team Rocket Grunts who occupy Pokestops by turning them black, or by challenging their hot air balloons with a large R on them. It may take newcomers a little time to power up enough to beat them consistently, but there's a lot of rewards involved in doing so. Shadow Pokemon have a dark aura and get an attack buff at the cost of a defense debuff, and Shadow Pokemon that are purified not only get a neat white aura, but it's the only way to modify IVs, raising them up a little bit. So if the Shadow Pokemon is already 4 stars or very close to, you can leave it as a Shadow and it will become much more powerful in that form. Lastly, there are Shiny Pokemon, which is to say Pokemon with a unique color pattern different from the norm on their species. And also they'll have a sparkling effect when they appear, so there's no ambiguity. These have no special mechanical considerations, but are neat for collectors. Make sure to catch one if they appear. In fact, number 7. Catching Pokemon made easy. There's several things you can do to make the catching process much less painful. To start with, Pokestops can be farmed every 5 minutes, so if you're in a place with one for a while, feel free to stock up. Second, there's a free pack in the shop every day with some basic items, usually Poke or Great Balls, and some assorted potions. Third, you can get a bonus handful of Pokeballs based on how much you walked over the past week, which comes up obviously once a week. This should help offset the item problem, especially once you're getting started. Next, you should use the ball appropriate to the catch. You're going to hold the ball and not throw it in order to see a colored ring around the Pokemon target. Green means the catch is easy for whatever ball you're currently using. Yellow means it'll be a bit more challenging, where orange and red progressively mean the odds are against you. Great Balls are better than Pokeballs and Ultra Balls are better than either, but they're also increasingly rare by comparison. These items get more common as you level up. If that's still not enough, or you're low on Ultra Balls, berries can supplement your catch chances in other ways. Raspberries passively reduce catch difficulty. Nanab berries make the Pokemon thrash about and jump considerably less, and Pinap berries double the candies a successful catch nets you. There's also Golden Raz and Silver Pinap berries. These are the same, but more, and are best reserved for the things that you really want to get. And, this is an important one, so pay attention, learn the curveball. While holding down on a ball in an encounter, you can spin it in either direction without letting go. You'll know this is working because the ball will put off a shimmering, glowing effect around it. When you release it, the ball will follow the trajectory just like, wait for it, a curveball pitch. A clockwise throw veers to the right, a counterclockwise throw goes to the left. This trick is good for many reasons, as they can go further and higher than regular throws, and it passively raises catch odds on a successful hit. You'll also get bonus XP every time you do this. There is no reason to not practice and master the curveball throw. It is one of the best tricks in your arsenal, so put it to good use every chance you get. Last point of order, Pokemon you encounter as a reward for research completion, or a shiny encountered after a raid, will never run away. Feel free to use your Pinap berries when this happens. Number 6. PvP. I'll be honest about this out of the gate. In most games, the PvP mode is the least fun part of the game. I generally have zero interest in it, but hey, let's say you're more competitive than I am, and you have some Pokemon that you're really proud of. The game offers a wide variety of prizes for winning in the PvP scene, and there's 3 classes to compete in. The first 2 have combat power caps of 1500 and 2500 respectively, and the last has no cap at all and anything goes. This is all accessed under the battle option of the main Pokeball menu, and if you want to learn how your Pokemon fight with their current moves, you can even opt to train with the 3 team leads by going to the battle menu and then scrolling all the way to the bottom. Damage sustained in PvP does not carry over, so you don't need to worry about burning through your revives and potions if you're doing this. Then at the end of each set, you can get a bunch of different rewards. Pretty neat if that's your jam. Number 5. Fight for your team. The team you pick has repercussions beyond what color your profile wallpaper ends up being. Team Valor, or the red team, gets bonus XP awarded every time they fight in gyms. Team Mystic, or the blue team, gets bonus XP whenever they evolve a Pokemon. And Team Instinct, or the yellow team, get their bonus XP for hatching eggs. Also, the fighting over the gems isn't just for glory. Having your Pokemon defend a gem will gradually net you the in-game currency Pokecoins up to 50 per day. So ideally, your Pokemon isn't in there too short a time, nor too long of one, though you have zero control over that really. In one strange instance, I once put a Pokemon to defend a relatively less traveled gem right around the time the Christmas and the New Year's holiday season had started, and had to go without them for 3 weeks, and still only got the simple 50 coins when they finally came home. However, this is the only free way to net this currency, and since you'll want to upgrade your Pokemon in item storage bags, you'll want to push for this when you can. Even if you just capitalize on your teammates' efforts, just try to put your strongest Pokemon in. Gyms are not places to show off your rare shadows or shiny Pokemon with 13 CP to their name. That just makes you that guy. That said, you can support your team in other ways, including feeding berries to the Pokemon in gyms of the same color as you. This will level up your gym badge as well and help keep their strength up to defend it for a while longer. Number 4. Don't trust the game's judgment when it comes to raids. When entering a raid, the game attempts to guess what Pokemon you should use, but I can frankly tell you I have no idea what it uses as basis for this assessment. It might be what attacks the Pokemon has, but honestly, it could be RNG near as I can tell because it almost always gets it wrong. Best thing to do is to have some teams made up ahead of time with particular targets in mind. An anti-water team, for instance, could have a mix of electric and grass types, for example, just the strongest ones you have available. And some raids will require you planning ahead of time and adjusting accordingly, since you want to match types as best as you reasonably can. But don't take the game at its word. Raids can be very tough, particularly when above the 3-star designation, so put your best foot forward. The campfire and party functions recently added to the game will hopefully aid with this going forward, but don't be too surprised if your allies fail to heed this advice and get swept out of the fight and you have to carry them. It's happened to me more than once, and I don't even raid that aggressively. Number 3. Research stamps help. This was more true back in older builds of the game, but there's still truth to it. Both once a day and whenever you tag a Pokestop, you can get research or a task to complete. Usually it's something like catch 5 Pokemon or hatch an egg, something that you can readily do. Once per day, upon completing one of these, you'll get a date stamp on your card. You can complete more than that, but you'll only get 1 stamp a day. Get 7 stamps, doesn't need to be in a row, just getting them is good enough. You'll get a special research encounter and a bunch of Stardust and items. This is a good way to get much-needed evolution items like the Unova Stone or the King's Rock, and it can help you encounter Pokemon that are difficult to find elsewhere. Research is also a great way to get extra items, and daily research, story research, and limited time research can be really great ways to keep the game fun and interesting. Participating in these is the only way to get certain legendaries like Cosmog, or even rare opportunities to encounter Pokemon that would otherwise be region locked. This is how I have all 151 of the Gen 1 Pokemon despite never having taken my phone outside my home country. Number 2. Just for fun. Pokemon Go has a lot of little things in it that are kinda pointless or easy to overlook, so I wanted to dedicate one slot to some of the stuff I've learned, either by accident or from seeing it in other players. When your Pokemon storage is completely full, the Pokeball icon on the bottom of the screen has light come on, same as when the Pokeball is active. If you press and hold on the Pokeball icon to open the menu, then slide your thumb across the icons, colored rings pop out. No idea why. When you first start up the game, the professor offers you a Squirtle, a Bulbasaur, or a Charmander as a kind of starter in homage to the mainline games. If you repeatedly walk away from this encounter option, eventually a Pikachu will be added to the selection. This is really cute, but doesn't matter too much, as odds are good your starter gets ditched later on for stronger Pokemon anyway, but it's cute that they thought to do that. Also for brand new players, once you hit level 5, the next time you tag a Pokemon gym, regardless of who occupies it, you'll be prompted to pick your team. If you never go to a gym, the game will not prompt you. You will remain in the neutral green template until you do. Some Pokemon, like my Kyogre here, are so big that when you place them during playtime, you physically have to back up to give them the actual space they need to appear. Pokemon who become best buddies with you get a special ribbon. If you don't like how it looks, you can actually turn the ribbons off in the settings. Lastly, if you're a die-hard fan and have a Switch and Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, you can upload a gift into the game. This will cause the Ghost-type Pokemon Gimmighoul to spawn in Pokemon Go. You can do this once a day, and it's an easy solution to any challenge mandating catching of ghost types. Number 1. Set a goal for yourself. While the game's research storylines are in the game, the real draw to come back time and time again is going to be what you find for yourself. Find a goal and set it. Maybe your goal is to complete the Pokedex. Maybe you want a living Pokedex completion. That's what happens when you have a representative of every single species of Pokemon in your storage at the same time, whether they're fully evolved or not. Maybe it's to make the most competitive PvP team. Maybe it's to power up one particular Pokemon all the way. Maybe you're insane like me and decide that you're going to get a legendary to max CP, even if it kills you. Maybe you want to fill out the shiny dex. Pick a goal and pursue it. That's how you're going to have the most out of your gameplay experience in Pokemon Go. It's really that simple. This has been the Gym Leader Snek. Haha, stole that one, Ed boy. Anyway, leave a comment down below. What do you think? Was I spot on? Was I off? What advice would you give newcomers? Also, since I promised I'd reveal it, I'm Team Instinct. I know, the yellow boy on Team Yellow. What are the odds? Anyway, leave a like if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't, because every week there's going to be more reviews, Let's Plays, and the Tomodachi Bros podcast. We have a huge assortment of social media presences and other mirrors for the podcast. Season 2 coming soon, I swear. And you can check them out in the description of every single video, every single time. Be sure to join us here each week, and I will see you there.